So there have been 3 mega viral stories all involving police dogs in the last couple weeks.
Dog.
Hey, bro!
Here are 5 reasons why police shouldn't have canines. Number 5, ridiculous laws. So why is it cops are completely justified when they shoot our dogs?
In this surveillance video, you can see Spike come out of the apartment, his tail wagging as he runs over to the officer who pulls his weapon and shoots at point-blank range.
But if we lay a finger on a police dog while defending ourselves from it, we could be charged with assaulting an officer. Did you know since 2015 you could be federally prosecuted and get 10 years in prison for assaulting a police dog? Ironically enough, just 2 weeks ago, the training director for K9's in Macomb County, Illinois, claims that throughout the state, police dogs may have to be euthanized if marijuana is legalized. That says 2 things to me. Either they're trying to emotionally manipulate the voters to sway the vote, or they just don't really care what happens to these animals, which is not only heartless, but kind of hypocritical considering the laws we just discussed. Number 4, violation of the 4th Amendment. It's a good chance you didn't hear about this ruling back in 2015. You know why? Because the mainstream media never covered it. The Supreme Court ruled it's illegal to prolong traffic stops to wait for drug dogs. One of the few judges left that actually fights for the American people, Justice Sonia Sotomayor said, "We can't keep bending the 4th Amendment to the resources of law enforcement, particularly when this stop is not incidental to the purpose of the stop. It's purely to help the police get more criminals, yes, but the 4th Amendment becomes a useless piece of paper." Number 3, they don't actually work for drugs. So this blew my mind when I first heard it. So a 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals did an investigation which led to some interesting observations. Lex the drug dog signaled for drugs 93% of the time, even when no drugs were present. It also found Lex was incorrect at least 40% of the time. Lex's overall accuracy rate wasn't much better than a coin flip. In many cases, police dogs are actually trained with positive reinforcement if they're able to find contraband, which obviously leads to false positives. This man sums it up really well.
Dog's not going to hit on your vehicle?
I don't know what the dog's going to do. If you want it to, I guess it could.
Is he, well, I mean, the dogs don't do it because he wants to.
Depends on who trains it.
Well, we have a pretty good dog with our department.
Well, I mean,
Has there been any drugs inside that vehicle? And there's no drugs in there now?
there is. Y'all put them in there.
We put them in there?
Because I ain't got none. That's what I'm saying.
Number 2, they misuse them. Watch this clip. It's really simple, folks. Let me break it down for you. He's trying to program the dog to always indicate for drugs to avoid pain. This is confirmed by 2 different dog trainers. This admittedly taken from a comment on Facebook. And this from a friend who actually trains dogs. The most recent incident of police misusing K9's is from Canton, Ohio. USMC veteran has his window smashed out. K9 sent into the vehicle, which was completely unnecessary and overkill. On top of that, the officers leave the animal on him for far too long, while telling him to stop fighting the dog, which he clearly isn't. It's the perfect example of a misuse of K9 and abuse of authority. Here are a few other cringeworthy headlines to really hammer home my point.
Again, come! Get him! Get him!
Yo, get that dog off of him!
Rest! Yeah, buddy! Rest him! Get that bad guy!
Number 1, they abuse them. To police, these animals are just another tool in their arsenal. and in turn, they get treated just like another tool. They are ignored, forgotten about, and neglected. Cops oftentimes assault their fellow canine officers, and there's little to no repercussions or punishment. If I did this to a police dog, I wouldn't be making this video, I'd be in prison. Look, I understand that police dogs have been legally used since the 19th century. But let us not forget, what is legal is not always right, especially when laws are used to give the lawmakers and law enforcers more power and authority. Now, I'm not saying that search and rescue or bomb-sniffing dogs in some circumstances aren't useful or necessary. But for the most part, police canines are used for intimidation, compliance, and violating rights, and have cost taxpayers millions of dollars in settlements. I also think it's important to point out that the use of police canines in many situations defers moral and legal responsibility away from human actors onto an animal that is incapable of discerning right and wrong.